All right, so we're going to get started. I've got a couple updates that if we can quiet down and everyone can grab anything else they need for lunch, we're going to start the venture presentations in just a minute. So thank you all for coming today. We're so thrilled to have you all here. We've got 5 great ventures for you that we'll be presenting. And so we'll have them come up in just a minute. But beforehand, I just want to share a few updates. If you did not get a parking pass yet and you need one, please make sure to find me, or I have a stack on the table outside. We also, I want to remind you, we have this info sheet about each of the ventures, but underneath that you'll have the bright pink sheet that is the kind of interest form. So if you've come to our lunches before and we have all of your contact information and details, you don't have to fill it all out. Just put your name on it so we know who you are, and then on the back you can indicate which ventures you might be interested in working with, or what areas you can help with, or if you're just kind of your general interest, questions, comments. So please make sure to leave those pink sheets here so that we can collect them. And also, if you don't mind leaving your name tags on your way out, we will reuse them for future lunches. And then the last update is that the steering committee will be meeting at the end of this lunch, so starting at 2:30, and it's upstairs 2 floors in 440 Egan. So thank you to our excellent steering committee for all of your work, and so we'll be meeting afterwards. So we have 5 great ventures. The first one is Building Conversation, and the founder and CEO is Terrence Masson. He's a faculty member here in the College of Arts, Media, and Design, and he's been working with IDEA and recently received GAP funding. So Terrence, I will leave it to you.
Yes, applause. Thanks. That's me. So, hi everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks to IDEA for arranging this. This is always fantastic. Just a quick aside. Thanks to the mentoring I've got so far from IDEA, in large part, we were notified just this morning that Building Conversation got in as a finalist to be a part of the 2015 Mass Challenge. So that was huge. That was great. So I'm very excited about that. Was 2,200 applicants. They picked 128. So that was a pretty good pool to be part of.
No brag.
It's my mentor. So I'll give you my new office address pretty soon. So I am Terrence Masson, so I'm the founder and CEO. My co-founder is George Thrush, who's the director of the architecture program here at Northeastern University. A slight addendum to my introduction, with mixed emotions, I've actually decided to step down from my faculty position here at Northeastern and concentrate on my startup full time. So that's kind of a big deal too, at least it was to my wife when I told her. So the married guys are laughing. Building Conversation is the company, ARC is the name of our app, and we were approached about 3 years ago from the local architecture community here in Boston about a long-standing problem of communication. So that's why we named the company Building Conversation. It's a conversation about building. So because the existing poor communication, believe it or not, even today in architectural design, is rolling out blueprints on a table, building foam core models, or making very expensive one-off static computer graphic rendering, which is my background. So after we did a prototype 3 years ago as a capstone class teaching here at Northeastern. Almost 2 full years of beta testing, so we've done a huge amount of iteration with formal beta testing with Payette, Gensler, SOM, Hutker, a bunch of big firms here in Boston to really refine not only our business plan, but everything down to the UI and the UX. And that's going to be really a very disruptive technology in this multi-billion-dollar visualization industry. So the timing, I think, is really great. So, right. So the solution to this intractable problem is we take the existing data that they already use. Every architecture firm in the world uses AutoCAD, 3D Max, Revit, SketchUp. They all export a long-standing, decades-old industry standard called FBX. We put that into our app through the cloud and download it to our app. So if you're not familiar with augmented reality, we're augmented on the iPad exclusively right now. So you hold up your iPad in front of your face, you look at the real world in real time live on site with the geolocated building overlaid on the real world in place. So you're basically being able to look at a full-size hologram of your proposed building on site, on the sidewalk. So you're out of the, yeah, wow was right. So It's pretty cool. And it's so cool, so it's perfectly geolocated. So with your iPad, you can walk around the building. The building stays in virtual and real world space, look up and down. If there's no building there currently, you can literally walk into your virtual lobby and look out the virtual windows. And it's data-driven, so you can toggle through as many options as you want. So Sasaki likes simple massing models and shadows, totally fine. Hutker likes very high-resolution textures and lighting. We do that too. I've got a story to tell, but I think you get it. So, you know, the proposed Four Seasons residential tower, if you live across the street, you probably are wondering if this is going to block the view of the Citgo sign, right? So the firm pays us. It's a software as a service model, monthly subscription. They pay us to upload the data, push the app out. It's free on the Apple Store, or will be in a couple of weeks. Any member of the public can download it with their QR code and their password and download their proposed building, look at it on the sidewalk, see what it looks like from their house or their office. And we have a survey built in as well, so they can say, I hate this, I love this, I like version B better, whatever you want. So the interface, looking through it like this, is you just basically choose which version of the building you want to look at. You go out and you stand on site. Like I said, you know, looking through an iPad. And this is a screen capture. You can record stills. We're going to have video soon as well, which is going to be huge. And then if you tilt up, the this is in Cambridge, a proposed building. You tilt up, you can see that's what it looks like. Again, walking up and down the sidewalk. So I grew up in Boston. So wicked cool, yes. But who cares? It's got to be, so it's a real pain point. So these are actual, and I had another one, what was my quote last night? Well, it was more wow moments. But basically, customers love it. So there's 100% adoption so far with our beta customers. They really, really love it. They fall off their chairs. It's a really disruptive technology that's long overdue, and it's not just cool stuff. So I also come from the film world, so I'm a film geek. But if you get this reference, Shawshank Redemption. The leadership team is core, absolutely really critical. My background before teaching here for about 7 years at Northeastern was interactive media, feature film, visual effects, and feature animation. So I worked for George Lucas on Star Wars movies, about 20 feature films, Titanic, a lot of other really bad movies. But not that one, that wasn't too bad. Worked for Jim Cameron. We started a company called Digital Domain in Los Angeles in 1993. Worked for Disney to start up studios in Mumbai and Toronto. So I'm on the kind of creative technology business side. And again, my partner George is the contact. So he's just better than anybody for picking up the phone and calling senior partners in all these firms around the world and getting us meetings. So he's sales and marketing 101. Mark is a PhD here. I hired to form the game design program originally. He's on board as our lead tech. Darylyn as well ran a successful digital marketing company of her own for 15 years, so she's an experienced executive in interactive media. They're both just very part-time right now, and hopefully will come out when I get funding. So addressable market, no hockey stick charts, I promise, for all you finance guys. I'm not going to show that. We're really focusing exclusively on the architectural visualization right now, which includes developers, real estate, design firms, some construction. It's actually a broad bunch of vertical markets within just that one. There are 24,000 firms licensed worldwide, so we know who they are, where they are, what their numbers are, and what their problems are to solve within those three main segments. Oh, by the way, the problems to solve do break down into basically two large areas. One is design iteration, right? You can work better, faster, cheaper on-site and see what these things do in the real world. And the two is sales and marketing. So it gives you an advantage over your competitor. Okay, kind of a hockey stick. This just came out. It looks like the market for augmented reality is going to surpass virtual reality. You've heard about Magic Leap, and it's $500 million capitalization. HoloLens from Microsoft is going to be huge. This is a really big market. You know, Google Glass kind of came and went too early, but the money is out there, and it's going to get big. So, idea rocks. They were fantastic. We did originally as our capstone, we won the RISE award. Everybody knows about the RISE competition here against 600 research competitors. Just some of the press is getting pretty big lately. And I'll wrap up for questions. But this is basically how do we make money. We've researched all of the monthly subscription models for all of the standard software that every firm in the world already uses. So everyone's going to a monthly subscription model, as will we. We are patent pending, I should mention that, so that's not insignificant. And again, part of the numerals in our mentoring with IDEA was, never target more than 3% of your addressable market. So I went for the full 3%, and that's a $91 million gross. So, and I've got financials I can share with anybody who's interested with breakdown of small, medium, and large firms. And so these are our active beta customers now, if you know them. Sasaki's fantastic. They were the earliest adopter. Hutker is fascinating on the Vineyard in Falmouth. They do very high-end private home design, totally different design aesthetic. Payette does very large international complexes like hospitals. And Gensler, of course, builds big skyscrapers. So this is, I'll wrap up, and this is basically our last quarter targets. So right now we're rolling out the final client-facing cloud app and converting our beta customers to revenue stream, and we're going to be looking for first money. So looking to target individual angel investors for about $1 million ask by the end of the year, and that'll fund our very tight, very lean team through 2016. And we do have a couple of potential competitors, but they're totally weak compared to us. They don't have the team. That's technical. Dan taught me that. That's totally weak. No, we're going to steamroll them. There's no problem at all. So thank you. That's the big presentation. Is that less than 5 minutes?
So, because we are live streaming, we'll open for questions, but I'm going to repeat the questions so that our remote viewers have the luxury of hearing what the questions are before Terrence gets to answer them. So, do we have any questions from the group?
Terrence, can you explain the nature of the strategic relationships that you have with the beta partners, the pilots that you're running?
So the question is, explain the strategic partnerships that you have with the beta testers, but I'm going to have you stand behind the podium so that they can hear you also.
Right, so strategic partnerships. So it's been long-standing with the early adopters, Sasaki, Hutker, they were the early ones, and that's been an ongoing mutual relationship. So we learn from them what our problems solve and pivot, right, and basically tweak our functionality and our business model. And then the more recent ones are a more formal 1-month free beta. So basically we come in, we load up their project of choice, we work with their team, and we say, because it's fascinating, every project within every firm has nuances. So it's much more than just give us the money and you're on your own. It's almost equally a service as opposed to software, because it takes a lot of personal interaction to figure out, well, exactly what component of interior versus exterior design, or so that's, for me, it's fun. I'm learning a lot, but that's the nature of the relationship. It's a give and take. We really highlight the customization of it. So if we go to your firm and you go, well, we really want this little doodad widget, great, fine, we'll do that. So it's been very mutual.
Jeff?
Have you partnered with Autodesk in any way except technology so you go to market?
I know a few senior VPs at Autodesk.
The question is, have you partnered with Autodesk in any way outside of technology?
I know a few senior VPs at Autodesk, just because of my work in the entertainment industry for a long time. So basically, I've been teasing them with why haven't they come up with this, many years ago. So we have not partnered with them formally. You would like to. Frankly, I think they're a perfect acquisition target because they have a history of. Yes, exactly. Right. I like this thinking. Yes. But yes, yeah, they have a history of acquiring companies similar to mine within architectural, either visualization or data. Revit was a big one. Vela is another big example recently. Shotgun, a friend of mine's company, was bought by Autodesk. So yeah, so they're the likely acquisition candidate for us.
Dan?
On a general level, this crowd would love to hear kind of what your needs are for mentoring.
The question?
Okay, right, the question. On a general level, please explain to us your needs for mentoring.
My needs for mentoring. Financial, number one, for sure, because we're looking for first money. So educating with connections and advice with angels, seed groups, maybe small VC firms. Sales and marketing. So I need to know how to scale me. How do I approach 100 companies a month as opposed to 5? That's going to be tough. And there was a third one that I put on the sheet. It's written down somewhere. But yes, but that's the big thing is, yeah. Product and technology development, right.
Roy?
Yeah, kudos to you, right? You sound very mature in your company formation process.
Thank you.
Question is around patent. How much of it, how much of it is tied up in sort of,
really blocking somebody from going forward.
The question is regarding intellectual property and how much of the technology is patented and how much is, yeah.
Right. The patent. It's, again, fascinating for something. I have a lot of friends with a lot of patents. I've never actually filed one myself. This was my first. So did a lot of due diligence, again, through idea relationships with patent attorneys. And it's fascinating about how you don't really know until you know about how defendable it is, how much it's going to delay your competitors. There's others who've started similar things. So it was the right thing to do, no matter what. But it's a good question about how much someone else will have to pivot around us exactly how we've done it. It's a lot of UX design. It's not software patent specifically, if that helps. There's a lot of nuance, as I understand it, in software patenting. That's very tricky, and I know it's something we have to pay attention to.
David?
It's such a great idea. I
Thank you.
was curious when I looked at the building imagery.
Yeah.
It seemed to be, yes, that.
Right.
Fast?
Oh, that one?
Yes.
Yep.
It seems to be just a little abstract, and I was wondering,
Sure.
is there software capable of taking into account something like the bill of materials so that you could show texture, colors, and architectural detail?
Yes, most definitely. In fact,
The question is just regarding how much level of detail the software can show into building materials, texture, etc.
Right. So this is actually this wasn't rendered with our real-time engine, but this is entirely capable of, as an option. This level of realism. So Sasaki, I mentioned, they literally just want a white massing. So footprint, massing, shadows. Absolutely no details or colors or textures. It's just key to their positioning. But others like Hutker, they want it to look like this.
So does the software do this today?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. And the nice thing is that whatever they model in light and render in texture within AutoCAD, Revit, SketchUp exports flawlessly, including animation. So we could have waving grass, flying seagulls, things like that. So I come from Star Wars, Jurassic Park, George Lucas, Avatar stuff. So it's really hard for me to make it not look like that. To pull back and say, what do you mean you just want white walls?
So in the interest of time, we do need to move on to the next venture. At the end, we will have time for, we'll have each of the ventures at tables in the back, and you'll be able to talk to Terrence and pick his brain about all of this. So I thank you very much.
You.
And give Terrence
Thank
a round
you,
of
everybody.
applause. So our next venture is Lobby Shop, and they're a group of 3 undergraduate students at Northeastern. And I am doubling up on the mic. But so it's Beth, Derek, and Evan. And so they also have been working through an idea, and I will let them explain what they're doing and what their mentoring needs are.
Sure thing.
Thank you. And here's the clicker if you need it.
Right over here. All right, cool. Let's play around with this. Make sure we got it. All right, cool. All right. Hey guys, I'm Dylan. These are my co-founders, Evan and Beth, and I'm here to talk to you guys about Lobby Shop, which is a new amenity service for college dorms that we honestly think will help address the problem that a lot of prospective students' parents have. They're concerned about safety. They're concerned about the, just the well-being of their students with their first time living away from home. And we really think we have a kind of unique and kind of novel solution that, we'll be able to help with that problem. So we'll get into that. So anyways, the Lobby Shop is a really simple idea. We take a vending machine, we dress it up, we include branding to go along with the school's aesthetic and the way that it looks and all that, and really try and integrate it as part of the community. And we place it within the dorms of colleges. And instead of featuring just the typical product selection that you're used to seeing, the junk food or the sodas that you're used to seeing in a vending machine, we sell electronics accessories, over-the-counter medicines, and everyday essentials. And we came to this product list through months of talking to other students, through using our own experiences in college. And what we really wanted to address was that, oh man, it's 2 a.m., the closest thing to me right now is the 24-hour CVS a half mile away, and I really need X right now in order to go on through my day. And that could be, cold medicine, it could be, maybe I don't know, maybe you need to do laundry at 2 a.m. or something like that. But the idea is just really, take the most urgently needed items that college students have and give it to them in the most convenient locations through a service that we can have operating 24 hours a day without a lot of the other inconveniences of store hours and having to have employees and all that, so.
All right, so we really believe that not only is this an incredible benefit for the end users, us, the students, but we also believe it has a lot to offer the universities. So essentially, campus visits, college tours, they're all really one big sales pitch designed at, convincing prospective students, prospective parents that this is the place that you want to spend the next 4 to 5 years. So what does that include? They take you around, they show you, hey, we have our blue lights, we have a good campus security, so even though you're in an urban environment, they'll take care of you. They highlight features of dorm life, and we really believe that having a lobby shop there would ease the minds of prospective, students' parents. It would, offer access for incoming students, year-round and 24/7 to have these items in their dorm, and it would also save them time. So whether it's on their way to class and they need to pick up some medicines, they can make it through their finals, or like you said, it's 2 a.m. and you don't really have a whole lot of other options. So whether it's a suburban university where you're not really close to, convenience stores, gas stations, stuff like that, or you're in an urban environment, or maybe you don't want to go wandering around at, late at night, we can offer a solution for that. So in addition, we're trying to change up the typical vending machine. So vending machines don't have to be drab black boxes. As you can see up there, that's what happens when you take just a normal vending machine and wrap it in a custom vinyl wrap. It's a really simple step, but it's one more thing that we're going to do to help customize the appearance as well as the products inside for each location. So whether they want a Northeastern Husky on the side of it or they want something a little bit more muted that will blend in with the dorm decor, we can offer that. We also have, a number of technologies inside that are going to help us offer a better user experience, both for the universities and for the students that are going to be using this. So we have this inventory monitoring software called Par Level that helps us not only take, whether people are coming back and whether they're first-time customers to the machine, but we can also keep track of their buyer data so we can see what people are buying, when they're buying it, and make sure that we're stocking it at the right times with the items they need.
Thanks. We're here to, get some help. So what do we need? What do we need? So we've got our machines, they're modified, they're going to suit our products well, they're ready to roll out. We've done all of our sourcing, we've sampled our products, that's ready to go. We've even got inventory management software, as she said. So, as this is not so much your traditional vending machine, it's a service. We're going to make sure it's stocked. We're making sure we're servicing the students and fulfilling all their needs. But, we're missing the most important part. We need locations so that we can actually acquire customers, so we can actually serve students. We've currently got a pending contract with Northeastern Legal. It's been there for about 3 months, and it's moving, and we're very excited. We don't know when it's coming out, but we're thinking initially this is going to be ready by March break. We'll get it in there. Now it's maybe September, but that's chugging along. And for the time being, we're looking, where else can we expand? Other schools, maybe apartment buildings, do hotels, is there a market there? Maybe airports need this as well. If you're getting on your plane and I need this really fast, I don't have time to. So we think that this model is highly adaptable. We think it can fit in a variety of locations. And what we really need is help getting this in, because we don't have connections to apartments. We don't know people in school housing departments, and we've been trying. We've got our general inquiry emails and our sales calls, but who actually picks up the phone or responds to those emails? So what we'd love to do is if you know somebody, or if you just have some thoughts or input that can help us sit down with somebody over lunch and just say, hey, this is our service, this is what we do, can we help you out? We'd love it. Any input or any help you can provide would be fantastic.
So ultimately, the lobby shop, it's a simple idea. We're not creating 3D renderings of buildings and making them magically appear in front of you. But we really do believe that this is something that can be beneficial for not only the students, but also for the schools that we're going to be servicing them through. And ultimately, the whole service, it comes at no cost to the university other than providing us with the location to place the vending machine and allowing us access in order to service and stock the machine. So we really think that once we can sit down in a room with somebody, if we're sitting down with the right person who has the whole user experience kind of mindset, that we're going to be able to sell them on this, because it's, there's a definite upside to what we're offering and little to no downside. So if you guys could help us out with that, that would be great. And thank you for your time.
few minutes for questions for Lobby Shop, and Kathleen, we'll start with you.
Thought about pursuing strategic partnerships with established companies that might see this as additional distribution, say CVS, which might have some items and see this as just shelf space in the door. So if you thought about pursuing partners, and if so, what kind of partners, CVS or others that you might think going down?
The question is, have you thought about forming strategic partnerships with existing retailers such as CVS or others that might see this as additional shelf space?
Mm-hmm. So that's a great idea, honestly. We haven't gotten to that point in our venture yet. We're still waiting on placing our first machine. We would like to have a beta test of anywhere from 5 to 10 machines rolled out. And really have them in dorm locations for anywhere from 6 months to a year before we make a big move to try and expand this further, because it is really an untested concept. I mean, I've never heard of this other than one other startup called Mamba who tried this with a couple colleges, and they're on to different things right now. So I don't really know how that ended up, but yeah.
You want to have sort of a beta so you can show them, but
yeah.
ahead of time, or who are the partners, which of the partners you want to go after?
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure in the beta test you have your products treated as much. You might want to make sure you pick a product selection that's the customer base, but also will create some interest with people at CVS or any other partners you might think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it ahead of time, even though your beta is just starting now.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great idea. Thank you.
Michael?
The vending industry is a rather large industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Is there any way to protect this IP so that perhaps other vending operators don't adopt it in some fashion?
Yeah.
The question is whether this idea is, whether you can protect it so that others don't copy the idea.
So intellectual property wise, no, you can't patent the idea of selling, a deodorant in a vending machine. But at least the way that I understand it, if I'm incorrect, then please come talk to me. But what we can do and what we plan on doing in the future is, me and Evan both love tinkering around. We love, working on stuff. And the way that a current vending machine is set up, it's optimized to sell snacks, it's optimized to sell sodas, and it's not really optimized for the products that we're looking to sell. We've made some modifications already that are going to increase the amount of capacity that we can have in our machine so that we can, stock more efficiently than other vendors were who are just setting up the same way. And we think that if this were to end up having a large market potential, the idea of custom building a vending machine just for these purposes is definitely not out of the ballpark. And then that's a whole different business of making vending machines and potentially selling them to people operating them. But yeah, as far as patent wise, no, but there are other ways we can do business better by focusing in on what we started and what we're good at. So.
And a new vending technology would be patentable. If we designed a machine for our purposes, we could create a barrier to entry that would make it significantly more difficult for others to enter.
Here.
Do you have any kind of revenue sharing model with the landlords to entice them to put
do you want to take
products inside their buildings?
The question is whether or not you've thought about any revenue sharing models with the landlords for the products.
Yeah, so that was something that has been brought up by a number of people, and traditionally the normal vending machine model is, you pay a fee or you pay a percentage of your profits and you get access to the location. However, that's for things that aren't very high urgency, like your snacks, like your sugary sodas, and what we're really trying to do is we're trying to create an amenity service. Like, we're offering this for free, and actually in our market research we found that there's actually a tangible benefit to people. People are willing to pay, let's say, $20 extra a month for rent per person in an apartment to actually have this in their building. So not only is there, the perception of value for, this is, we're providing for our customers better, whether it's tenants in apartments or students, but there's also an actual monetary value that you can assign to it. So while we're not charging the landlords for this, we're really trying to, first, posit it as an amenity. If we had trouble getting our, first beta tests, because we are an untested entity and, we pose a threat to their, curated user experience that they spent millions of dollars doing, we might, take that into consideration. But right now we're really trying to sell it as an amenity service that is providing a benefit for high urgency products 24/7 at no cost to them.
Okay, this is going to be the last question for Lobby Shop. Steve, we can be you.
What is the capital required for a single machine stocked with inventory? And what are your financial projections on a monthly basis for a typical installation?
So the question is financial productions on a monthly basis, or sorry, capital requirements and financial cost and stock of inventory.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, so 6,000 for a brand new machine that has all of our customizations with it and is also vinyl wrapped. So there are ways we can get in a little bit cheaper than that, but we'll assume high just for these calculations. The install is going to cost around $300-400. A full load of inventory is
600 products.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'd be around $1,000, $1,500, somewhere in that range. So you're looking at around 8,000 total per machine. Our expected returns, that's at this point we are, we've done a little bit of market research, but we won't know until we get it in there. But we're estimating that we're going to fill the machine at 20% of the items sold out every 2 weeks, which would correspond to what were the numbers?
$60 a day.
Yeah, it'd be $60 a day, so it'd be $2,000 a month.
Per machine.
In profit per machine, which ends up coming out to around $20,000 to $24,000 a year. So
at a small scale as the beta test.
Yeah. So this is typically much higher than any other vending model, simply because the items that we're selling are more expensive than $1.35 for Oreos. So our margins per item are also a lot better as well. And because of that, we can have a higher quality service and really put the time into focusing on the service side of the vending business as opposed to just, hey, how do we optimize our route?
Okay, thank you so much, Lobby Shop. There will be time afterwards for additional questions. So our next venture is Pickasound with Toju Ometoruwa. I don't think I butchered that. I'm so sorry. You can correct me. So Toju is an undergraduate student here at Northeastern. He's received gap funding previously and is starting his second co-op for Pickasound. And so I'll let him explain what Pickasound is and what he needs from mentorship.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Toju. I'm a business undergrad at Northeastern University. And so this is Pickasound, and for the past 5 years, I've basically been an avid music producer who spends countless hours creating songs so that I could share them online to the world, receive feedback, and connect with like-minded creators. I find that the biggest thrill to producing music is the ability to discover, sample, and then mix and match different sounds to create unique combinations never heard before. But this passion for expressing ideas through sound is not something that only I can claim to enjoy. In fact, over 200 million people enjoy making music every day as something that's a passion to them. And what we're trying to do basically is combine, allow these people to be able to find a place where they can combine these ideas and collaborate efficiently. So because so many people are involved in creating music, the actual creative process is still an isolated one, where the magic that happens behind the scenes, is something that people aren't getting exposure to. You're not able to see how your favorite artists are creating these songs. And so what Pickasound is essentially trying to do is trying to create something where you can actually, a platform where you can connect your ideas online, where you no longer have to worry about issues with sending email files back and forth. The animation. Where you don't have to worry about using Skype, or basically the process is where you can upload an idea and people can contribute to it. So, let's see. The slide is not moving. Yeah. So, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, no emails, no Skype. It's basically Pickasound, and I'm going to go into what that is right now. So Pickasound is essentially a music platform that solves this problem by allowing you to collaborate, remix, and crowdsource musical ideas with the help of a large community of creators. How does it work? Okay. We enable you to collaborate with millions of musicians simply by uploading a piece of a song and having others build onto your work by uploading or recording their own ideas below your project source track. These sounds play alongside each other as one file, essentially forming a project. You can remix different ideas freely with the help of our advanced beat matching technology, which essentially enables sounds of different speeds and pitches to match instantaneously, opening doors to a multitude of cross-genre ideas. So, if you're a violinist, you can upload your track and then combine it with the electronic drums, and our beat matching technology is going to match the speed of your violin track with the drums and allow you to hear a perfectly blended song. And finally, you can crowdsource new ideas with the help of our community-built sample library, which is basically a place where Pickasound users have put in their own ideas for other people to borrow and use as their own contributions. And as you can see here, these double icons allow you to see who the original creator of that work is and who the sampler of that work is. So where are we today? We've been working on this concept since about January 2014, and we've raised some angel funding throughout the second half of 2014, and we're now in the later stages of developing our beta sites. We hope to launch another private beta testing. We hope to launch the site for another private beta testing session in June, and then follow that up with a public launch sometime in August or September. Our top mentoring needs include business development, being able to understand the process of partnering with different brands and companies to form events such as remix competitions, which we think can be really valuable to the site. General management, organizing marketing interns and community managers, and basically tasking them to recruit beta testers so that we can get as much feedback as possible. And sales, basically being able to understand how much customers are willing to pay, and so that we can better form financial projections. Our team consists of me as the founder and CEO. We have 3 developers working for us right now, 2 Berkeley alumni and a 3rd audio developer. We previously contracted and are still working with a design team called Agility Feet, consisting of 2 designers. And then we also have 3 community managers / marketing interns, all Northeastern students. And we have a contracted PR firm, which we plan to use for our media campaign when we launch in around September or August. So overall, we think that having this network of professional mentors can provide more structure to our business. And as we continue and prepare for launch, and we're open to getting as much advice as possible on all these specific needs that I mentioned in the previous slide. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Toju. Questions from the audience? Jeff.
Let's pretend you wind up with 5 collaborators in your project. Who owns the resulting song at the end of it?
So the question is, if you end up with 5 collaborators, who owns the resulting song?
So a typical collaboration session looks something like this. And what you see is 5 different tracks that are separated, but still play as one file. So you have people contributing ideas that appear to be merged, and they all could play as one track. But you can always take something out and put it back in, so everybody can claim ownership to the project at that specific point. To upload a project or a track, the default license is Creative Commons, meaning that people can create what is called a mix down, so you merge different sounds together. And once you mix down that project, you essentially are part owner of that project because it is a Creative Commons license. If you upload your track under a copyright, so just with a C, all rights reserved, that means that that track cannot be mixed down with the rest of the project. So this way, it's really open for everyone. You have what is called basically a moving piece of music. You can take one idea, put it into another project, and continually combine things without having to worry about the ownership not necessarily going away from you. Because you have the sounds are attached to an image or the profile picture, so you can link who has contributed what, and see what their contribution is to the project.
But the business is to sell the song.
No, the business essentially is to create as much as possible for the user's value. The value that the user gets essentially is to expand upon their original ideas. So I can upload a track and people can contribute to it. I can collaborate with different people. The monetization aspect for us comes into play with putting limits on upload space. So essentially a user gets 2 hours of free upload space, and then they can continue to upload more once they pay a freemium $3 fee every month.
David?
Sorry. Do you think the software has any potential as a teaching tool, teach music composition?
Yes.
Like be purchased by a school like Juilliard, something like that.
So the question is whether or not the software has any teaching potential, and whether a university like Juilliard might be interested in purchasing it.
Yes, I think it does. I mean, one of the challenges with teachers, obviously, is being able to have that constant working relationship with your students, creating music. And with how it works now, you have to be in the classroom to do that. And especially with music creation being electronic as well, it helps that you'll be able to have something like this where a teacher can post up an idea, students can contribute to it, and then they can grade, quality of contributions or quality of the sounds. And so I think it does have potential in the education field.
Have you targeted that market yet?
Yeah, we have. One of our first investors, actually, Brad Hatfield, is a music professor here at Northeastern and a professional music composer. So he's always pushing for the education end as well. But we think it could have benefited both the consumer side and the education side.
All right, thank you very much, Toju.
Thank you.
So our next venture is PreApps, and I'm going to have Rob come up and introduce Sean, because Rob has been a mentor for PreApps for a while now, and he suggested that Sean come to the Venture Mentoring Network to build a mentor team. So I'll have Rob give a brief introduction.
Hello. So I had the opportunity to work with Sean for about 8 months, and a few things. One is he's a great listener. So feedback that you do give him, he actually takes back and brings result. Another, I don't want to steal any of your highlights, but another key component as you listen to him go over his company, he's actually producing revenue month after month. In fact, the revenue is increasing pretty significantly, I would say, month after month. So he's providing a lot of services and value, and I think he positioned himself and his company to be one of the leading providers of sort of introducing apps in the industry. So he's gone a long way since we started speaking, and you know, it's been a wonderful pleasure to work with him. So, Sean?
Thank you, Rob. Excellent. Good afternoon. I'm Sean Casto, and I'm the founder and CEO of PreApps, the premier mobile marketing and discovery platform. The problem is there's over 3 million apps on the market, and about 80% of them are failing to get visibility, exposure, downloads, and monetize. And the truth is, it's because developers are not marketers. Developers lack the knowledge and the resources to adequately market and test their app. And PreApps is their solution. PreApps provides a superior platform and related tools to maximize the exposure of new apps and advance their quality to the consumer. We're enhancing 3 areas of the massive mobile market. 1, introducing higher quality, more successful apps into the marketplace. 2, enhancing app discoverability. And 3, maximizing app discovery and traction. PreApps provides developers with the marketing tools and knowledge and the resources to position their app for success, from pre-launch to post-launch. Our pre-launch platform provides developers with an opportunity to build early-stage traction and exposure, to be able to connect with early adopters and build that following pre-launch in order to have a successful post-launch. Through our Signature Notify Me functionality, users have the opportunity to get notified instantly an app gets released, therefore allowing the developer to potentially notify 1,000 to 100,000 interested users to download their app upon release. Also allows developers to collect early stage traction, access to beta testers, and fine-tune their app before launch. In addition to our pre-launch platform, we also provide a suite of marketing services to ensure that our clients get the exposure that they're looking for. These consist of app demo video production, app store optimization, and our most popular being our app review submission and press release creation distribution. We have over 145,000 in sales with 65% profit margins, and we monetize through featured upgrades on our platform as well as through our value-added services. We've served over 3,200 mobile apps to date, working with roughly 10 to 15 new apps a day, totaling over 60 million in client downloads. We've had over 850,000 visitors, currently with about 75,000 monthly visitors, looking to hit over 100,000 monthly visitors by July. We've received market validation through our strategic partnerships with a lot of industry leaders, including Microsoft, Amazon, Samsung, with Microsoft being the most prominent, promoting us via their partner page, side-by-side Facebook and PayPal. We've also earned some recognition in the press, being featured on Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, and Fast Company. The future is in automated app store optimization. We have a new product offering that I'm very excited about, which will be launching in August, called the App Grader, in which developers can enter their app name, and it will provide them with a complete report as to why their app is failing and how they can be improved. It will also provide them a dashboard integrated with all the major tools out there in order to provide that visibility and traction and how they can improve their app. From a marketing standpoint, we'll also be launching the PreApps mobile app on Android first in August. And we foresee the app to be the primary channel for us to build up our user community. Areas of needed support. We're looking to support in user acquisition in order to better monetize from our developers and our clients, as well as our users. And also scalability. As I mentioned before, we're looking to both scale and from our users as well as the app served. Projecting to get about 100,000 monthly visitors by August and hopefully 250,000 within a year. Also looking to serve about 1,000 new apps a month. And then we're also looking for areas of needed support in partnerships and possible exit strategies. As far as partnerships, we're looking to partner with hopefully HubSpot to work with them on their mobile marketing app strategies, Localytics and analytics, Google, those types of players, as well as possible exit strategy and acquisitions in the future. Thank you, and I'll now open up to questions.
Thank you, Sean. So questions from the audience? Any? Okay.
Sure.
Court?
I'm working on an app right now. I'm consulting for an app company. We're having trouble with user acquisition, and that's the big thing with apps is you get these iOS developers and Android developers in a room, and they think that they put a cool name on it, and they put this cool, kind of UX and UI to it, and they go, oh, it's going to sell, and it doesn't. So can you get a little deeper into how you help with user acquisition?
Sure.
The question is, can you elaborate on how you help with user acquisition?
So it's all contingent on the client's needs and what they're looking for, and the size and the budget that they're looking to work with, whether it be pre-launch or post-launch. And so we work with all different types of apps, from indie developers, mid-sized studios, to large publishers. Mainly more in the indie developers and mid-sized studios range in order to provide them with early-stage traction and exposure, whether it be through PR, getting traction in the press, from app reviews, and or securing downloads from other means and discovery platforms out there. And our aim is really to provide as much exposure and awareness around those apps. If they have the budget, they can work with our partners to do fix-you, air push, and do burst campaigns and cost per install type of strategy, but we're more focusing on the PR and marketing component of it.
So is PreApps an agency?
We are. We could be an agency or platform. We're looking to be more in the platform and automated solution more than anything else.
Okay.
Dan?
What specifically are the issues around scalability that you need help with?
What specifically are the issues around scalability that you need help with?
So in the form of scalability, just looking for guidance and advice as to how to better market towards consumers and drive more apps. Obviously size. I'm the sole founder and CEO. I have a team of 7 that are us interns. So building our operation to better suit our clients' needs from both apps as well as users in order to be able to scale, to be able to serve and provide value to, let's say, a million monthly app users out there, and as well as from our developer standpoint to be able to advance our product offerings to serve as many apps as possible.
Vince had a question?
Yes. So in the end of your presentation, we saw a brief glimpse of that dashboard application.
Yeah.
Where someone could type in the name of their app and get all kinds of advice on how to become successful with their app. Can you give us a 60-second overview of how that works?
Absolutely.
The question is for a 60-second overview on the app grader. Is that the dashboard? Okay.
So this item is built in order to scale with the market so that all 3 million apps out there can take advantage of this. There's a number of different components and products kind of within it, but the main component is the app grader report itself, so that developers can enter their app name, whether it be from the App Store, Android, or Windows, and it provides them with a complete detailed report from their icon, description, screenshots, video, keyword analysis, competitor analysis, and etc. As to why their app is failing in the market, why it's getting little exposure, and not meeting the specific guidelines that other apps, successful apps are ensuring. It also provides them with recommendations as to how they can improve their app in different means. It'll also provide them with a dashboard that'll be integrated with Google, Apple, Windows, a lot of the major analytics tools, crash reporting, server, to-do list, project manager, etc., in order to have all that data in one place so that the indie developer doesn't have to go to 20 different locations to get all that information. Another component will be the screenshot creator. Most apps out there have really poor quality screenshots out there, and they're not marketers. They can't use Photoshop and other means to be able to create that marketing material, and a screenshot is critical to an app's chance of success. So we've also built this tool that's really cool that allows them to create really enticing and marketable screenshots within 30 seconds without having to utilize any type of Photoshop or any type of design software.
All right, and David, last question for PreApps, and we'll move on.
No, that's the great thing.
The question is whether or not there's a human being sitting down making these critiques and recommendations.
That's the great thing about it is it's completely automated. So everything is built to scale.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. Again, we'll have some time at the end. You can talk to him more. So our last but certainly not least venture is Therapeutic Innovations. This is a student team from Northeastern with some students also from other local universities. It's both graduate and undergraduate students. It's a very collaborative project. And so I will have Solomon come up, and or more of your team presenting with you. So you can introduce the team, but you can explain what you are and what you're doing and what you need.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having us today. My name is Solomon, and I'm a PhD student here at Northeastern University in the bioengineering department. This is Dan Mentary, who's also a bioengineering PhD student. I have Marisa Puzantu, who's a chemical engineering PhD, and I have Arthur over there, who's actually a master's. He graduated just a few months ago from the master's program here at mechanical engineering. So as we all know, the world is a global village, as they say right now, and so whatever happens to the kid in Nepal has all the potential to affect the other kid playing on the street corner in Brooklyn. So what we at Therapeutic Innovation is trying to do is actually to bridge the gap between the developing countries and the developed countries in terms of pediatric care. And what we've realized is that there's a lot of lag in those areas, and we have found out how to actually develop these areas by helping empowering the people there through medical devices and education and all. A couple of months ago, I came across this data from the World Health Organization that actually said that 15 million babies are actually born preterm every year. And out of this 15 million, 1 million of these babies die. And interestingly, the report further stated that 750,000 of these babies can be saved. So the issue is, what are we doing as individuals and expertise and experts in the engineering field to try to resolve some of these issues that are going on in the globally. So what we did was I took a trip to Africa a couple of months ago to try to really understand what is going on and what are the needs of these people and what we can do as individuals to try to help save some of these babies. I went through a lot of hospitals over there, and to be honest with you, the situation is serious, and as we're speaking now, some of these babies are dying. One of the stories that actually stayed with me on the flight back was I met this doctor in a military hospital in a country in the west coast of Africa, and he said that last month alone, 66 babies died because of the lack of a bubble Cpap, and a bubble Cpap is a respiratory machine that helps the babies, the premature babies, to breathe. So, and I asked him, so what would he do when a mother comes in ready to have a premature baby and there's no machine working? And he said he prays that never happens on his shift. So that was staggering to me. And, you know, coming back, I thought maybe I can do something about it. So I put the team together. I went to other universities, Wentworth and Tufts, to sell the story. And I got very wonderful people to, you know, collaborate with me and work with me on this project. And the project is trying to build a bubble Cpap that is low cost and is robust enough to be able to help these babies immediately get out of the situation. Some hospitals had 4 bubble Cpaps, and as I got there, all of the bubble Cpaps were broken. So it's actually an emergency situation, and we have to do something about it. So I'm going to leave the technical aspect to Dan for Dan to really discuss what we have been doing so far and the help that we need.
And a note on that, we are pursuing an international patent right now, so I can't disclose too much about our device. But I'll give you an overview. As Solomon said, what bubble Cpap is. It's continuous positive airway pressure. And why this is important is if a baby is born preterm, its lungs can't actually function on their own. So what you need to do is supply the pressure and the relief of the pressure to actuate the lungs along with the mixed gas and humidity. So The system itself is not that complicated. As you can see here, I have the Fisher & Paykel. This is like the market leader. Their device on the left, the smaller container, is the actual bubble generator. The device on the right is the heating and humidification unit. And what we've essentially done is sort of simplified this. Our platform is a core which fits inside of a Rubbermaid igloo cooler that you probably see at tailgates. So we've really streamlined the whole process. We've tried to make it very simplified because if you look at one of these devices, they're very over-engineered and they can cost upwards of $4,000. When you're looking at a market in Ghana or in India, they don't have that kind of money. Or if they do, they can only afford a few devices. The other complication with these are, because they're so engineered that if a small component breaks, like say the LCD screen no longer displays what gas flow rate you're at, you can no longer use the device. So they essentially become very expensive pieces of furniture. So what we're trying to do is build a bare bones, like bulletproof, sort of mil-spec system to just deliver exactly the specs that we need. Like I said, our early prototype is the core inside the cooler, and we also have a simplified version of the generator you see there. We're developing smaller prototypes. We're trying to use prefabricated materials and lean manufacturing, such as 3D printing and injection molded components. What I can tell you about our prototype specifically, what set us apart from the other market leaders is we really tried to develop this for the developing world, not the developed world. If you look at the F&P model I just showed, they're used to working in hospitals here in the States where if the power goes out, you have a backup generator and you're using distilled clean water. In places like Ghana and India, that's a luxury that they don't have. So with our device, we looked into it, we're really trying to meet the user needs. So certain components such as a backup power supply, filters to deal with dirty water, different systems to really deal with the adverse conditions we'll have in the developing world. We're also trying to develop a culture of maintenance. Like I said, if one of these really complicated components breaks, in the US you have a technician who can come and fix it. But in Ghana there is no technician. There are no specially trained staff to come fix it. So we're trying to do a very simple system with modular components. So if anything is to break, it can easily be swapped out. It shouldn't involve any kind of bells and whistles that the device doesn't need, so there's less components to break. For example, the LCD screen, you don't need an LCD. You can use a toggle switch and a rotometer dial, which eliminates a lot of the electrical components that can fail and often do. Especially the test conditions over there, it often gets 120 degrees in the hospitals in Ghana, and they're used chronically. So if you're not testing your devices in these kind of conditions, they can often fail much sooner than they're meant to. Other small points we're looking at is the supply line. Often you can find here in the States nasal prongs and face masks for the babies using the device are pretty common, but in Ghana they had one set of nasal prongs they had a boil to sterilize for the entire pediatric department. So we're trying to set up a culture of actually just delivering them supplies that they need, because if you have a great machine but you have no nose cone, it's not going to work. And planned future work for our iterations of the prototype, emergency power supply for the frequent brownouts they experience. We're trying to make the device more compact. We're also trying to feed a high efficiency, low power feedback system, our electronics. So as you can see here, I have some of our test data, and what's unique about ours is we don't need a constant power supply. We're adding a high draw to initially get the device to specs, but then because we have insulated cooler, you can actually just add a little bit of power to slowly maintain the temperature, so we can hopefully run off a backup if we need to.
So specifically what we need, we have two types of needs right now. The immediate need is we need mentors, because we are all engineers. We need mentors that really understand the business platform, who can help us build a business portfolio to be able to have a very good conversation with the people that are involved. Now, we have this other companies in India that are very interested in our product right now. And as I was talking to Bob Lanz a couple of months ago, and he actually advised me on some of even the correspondence that I have, like the way to talk to him, because he looks like he's kind of breathing down my neck, but I am not too much okay with the business side of things, so I'm kind of a little skeptical on the information that I can give him. And we met a lawyer yesterday who actually told us not to give him any information until we have a patent going. So we're lacking in all those kind of areas, and we really need help with that. The next one is actually space, because what we're working on is a shared space, and we have to always put our prototype together and then retake it back because other people have to use the space. But we have not been able to run tests over a longer period of time, so we need space to be able to do that. And then other one, the long-term needs is actually to be able to, we know how to bring the product to life, but how do we take it from there to a production line where we can actually scale it down and produce a lot more? And we also need industry connections, and most especially, we also need venture capitalists and angel funding to be able to see this to the end and to help these babies out there that, as we speak now, need help from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we'll take a few questions with the group. I'll start with Steve.
Do you plan on selling
selling this in the U.S., and if so, do you plan on going for FDA clearance?
So the question is, do you plan on selling this in the U.S.? And if so, do you plan on going for FDA clearance?
So currently we are not looking at the United States market at all because it's saturated with a lot of medical devices. What our target is to target the developing countries where there are not so much, I would say, IP regulations like the U.S., and that's where people actually need this product. In America, we have other companies. Fisher and Paykel has taken over the market with almost 90% share, and we cannot battle with them. So we rather leave the United States market alone and then target the developing countries where they would actually need our device.
David? So is the question is your goal philanthropic, or is this a for-profit
So we're looking at a for-profit for now, and the reason why I said for now is even if you look at India, where Fisher and Paykel has also taken over 90% of the market, the 10% that we're talking about is almost about 100 to 200,000 babies without this product. So we're looking, and that can definitely translate into 10 to 20 million dollars of revenue that might come our way. So we're playing by ear right now. Currently, we have applied for the Gates Foundation because they have some money out for people that are looking into things like that to be able to. So if you're able to acquire some money like that, then that kind of changes the game a little bit. But right now, we're looking for people to actually invest in us to see this through, and then we'll then discuss the reimbursement policies with those people interested.
Okay, Saul?
What is your product supposed to do for the preterm baby? I'm missing something here.
So
the question is, what does the project do for the preterm babies? What is the purpose?
The basic platform we have to deliver is the mixed gas, so oxygen and room air at a specific, you can tune it depending on the actual respiratory needs of the patient. You also have to supply about 95% humidity, and then the pressure relief, which is you can, actually, if you flip back to the vessel, it's sort of a snorkel in a vessel of water, and it just, as the bubbles burst, it releases the pressure, so it actually actuates the baby's lungs for it.
And in very simple terms, it's because the baby's lungs aren't developed enough to breathe for themselves. So this is a breathing apparatus.
They have similar devices for sleep apnea, like just regular adult CPAPs, but they don't often provide the adequate pressures and humidity required for a neonatal infant. So you can't just retrofit an older device.
Is something that would be used in the hospital after the birth, or what?
Yes, please. Yes, it's definitely supposed to be used for in the hospitals. So what actually happens is when a premature baby is born, the doctors do vitals to find out exactly where they can support the baby's life from. And most of the time, it's actually the lungs, because the lungs are not matured enough to breathe on their own. So they put them in, they prescribe immediately a bubble Cpap to actually help the lungs until they are ready to wean them from that for the babies to carry on the breathing by themselves. So this will be the bedside. Say that again, I'm sorry, sir.
Well, right now, there has to be a research program going on here at Northeastern right now to determine the cause of preterm birth. It's a government-supported program. Turns out preterm births have increased in this country over the last decade by about 10%. In Puerto Rico, by 25%.
Yes.
And there's a significant program going on to determine the basis for those increased preterm births. But hospitals right now are set up to deal with preterm births. What is your device going to provide that isn't being provided right now in regular hospital environments?
So the question is, what is your device going to provide that isn't already being provided right now?
So we're talking about if you talk about Puerto Rico is definitely a little land that is supposedly taking care of the United States. So I'm saying that if you talk about Puerto Rico is actually close to the United States, so they kind of have a lot more help than like a village, as compared to a village somewhere in the Sub-Saharan countries that don't have that kind of access. Sometimes one hospital that I actually visited, they literally boil water and then kind of like a bottle to try to help the baby sustain their life until. So it's like either they do it anyway, by any means possible, or they just let the baby die. And that's why those numbers, as you said, are increasing. Now, there are so many reasons why the preterm births are increasing, and we are just tackling just a little portion of that problem. If you look at the way preterm happens, mother stress and environmental situations and all other things actually play a role in the reason why babies are born preterm. And I can assure you that most of these factors that causes babies to be born preterm are in the areas that we are trying to target. And so we cannot solve all the problem, but we're just picking specifically that if these babies are born and they cannot breathe, our device should be there to give them the life support that they need until they are able to breathe on their own.
So we need to wrap and we'll open it up. And I think, to answer your question, what you guys are doing, correct me if I'm wrong, is not differentiating on functionality but on cost. So you're trying to offer the same services that exist with the current bubble CPAPs, but at a much lower cost so that it's accessible to the emerging markets. Exactly. So thank you, Therapeutic Innovations. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do now is break to conversation so that each of you have a chance to talk to the different ventures individually. We're going to have Therapeutic Innovations on that far table over here. And then PreApps next to them, Pickasound, Lobby Shop, and Building Conversation. So ventures, please take your high top tables so mentors know where to find you. And then just before we totally break, I just want to make note of these dates for upcoming events through the summer and fall for both Venture Mentoring Network lunches and other entrepreneurship events. And then please make sure to fill out your pink sheets if you're interested in working with any of the ventures or if you have any feedback. And I would also love any of your feedback on this lunch or other lunches as we continue to grow and expand the program. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. And the steering committee will meet upstairs in about a half hour in 440 Egan.